This serves its purpose very well, not being overly offensive, doing its job without breaking the bank, and giving you some luxurious comforts in the process. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Buick Envista Avenir, the top trim of Buick's entry-level crossover, topping out at just over $30,000. This is a very affordable vehicle with a lot of style, and in this video, I'm going to take you on a quick tour. Yes, gearheads, the window sticker on this particular model, as equipped, including destination, is just over $30,000. I do want to thank Buick for bringing this one to live with us for a full week throughout our normal lives, where we test it in all manner of situations. Not only do I have this tour video for you here, but if you hit subscribe, you will see our family review where we put in Tucker's child safety seat. We put Holly behind the wheel to get her thoughts of this Chevy Trax based crossover from Buick. Yes, I said Chevy Trax. Y'all know I absolutely love the Chevy Trax here on the channel. This is its luxury counterpart. And so that means we get the same 1.2 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder under the hood. Yes, only 3 cylinders from this turbo Ecotec engine. And as in the Chevy Trax, we get 137 horsepower, 162 pound-feet of torque, made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission, sending power only to the front wheels in order to keep the cost down. And that really is the big selling point here, is the price, the cost. Yes, this really does sticker for just over $30,000. And a lot of that has to do with the simplicity of the powertrain. There are some other benefits to the fact that this is a front drive only vehicle and it was designed that way from the very get-go. But closing the hood, the styling is the new age of Buick. We're starting to see this face across all 4 of their crossovers. And I have gotten a lot of texts from friends asking me what this vehicle is. And I'm like, well, it's a Buick. In fact, Buick had a whole ad campaign over, that's a Buick? Well, I think it really applies with this new design language. It absolutely turns heads. This being the top trim Avenir, we get the chromed out grille here. We get some nice luxurious chrome shiny bits to accent this ocean blue paint, which I really like. You can see we get LED running lights, turn signals. We even get a nice pattern up here. So there are small touches here and there that shows Buick is investing and going a little bit of the extra mile when it comes to overall design. Now, if you don't like all the shiny bits of our Avenir, they do offer an ST that blacks out all the shiny bits that we have here on this one and gives it a more sporty, athletic look, though still using the same turbocharged 3-cylinder under the hood and the same front-wheel drive platform, but just gives you a little bit different look than this Avenir with these polished wheels. These are Avenir specific polished wheels wrapped in some Continental ProContact tires. These are 245/45 R 19-inch Continental ProContact tires wrapped around these Avenir exclusive polished wheels. It is a nice upscale look that goes with all the shiny bits all around on this one. As we pull around to the side, this has that SUV coupe-like look that so many brands are leaning into here lately. I believe Audi calls it the Sportback. We get SUV coupe or GV80 coupe from players like Genesis, but this coupe-like roofline is a very desirable design element that Buick has here in a very affordable little crossover. Still, I keep coming back to the fact that this is a $30,000 vehicle, and that really is saying a lot. You get a lot of style without breaking the bank. Now you can see the taillights are very interesting in this one. So we have the hazards on, we have incandescent turn signals down low in the bumpers, but we do get LED lighting up here on the corners that mimic some of the LED lighting up top. This being the Avenir, much like the bigger Enclave Avenir we've already tested, they are white when they are not illuminated, so white lenses on these LED lights. We get Buick spelled out there across the back. Very clean, very upscale styling. We even get a little tiny lip spoiler on this one. But interestingly enough, no wiper. We haven't had a lot of rain while we've had this, but I can see how this may be a problem long term with the rake of that rear window. We do have a power operated rear hatch. So I mentioned earlier how this is based on the Chevy Trax. Trax does not offer a power hatch on any trim level, though that Chevy tops out at just over $27,000. So there are some luxuries and some reasons why you may want to consider the more luxurious Buick version over the more mainstream Chevy. Back behind here, we still get good cargo storage, though not a lot of additional amenities back here. We don't have power, we don't have remote handles to fold the seats. We get this hard parcel cover, though we see that in some premium brands like Lexus, so I'm not going to knock it too much, especially with a $30,000 price point. We get a little storage here on the side, a little recessed well here on the driver's side, and then the load floor. You can see I've got my backpack in here for scale, but as I bring that out, I do want to show you underneath, we have a temporary spare tire, and to access that easily, Buick does give you this little indentation in the rear cargo shelf that allows you to leave the shelf up like this so that you can get in and around your spare tire and get it out if and when you need it. You can see we do not have a lot of sound deadening in and around that tire. We'll talk about that a little bit more while we are driving. Being that this does have a power operated hatch, not only do we get the power button, but we get the manually closing handle here if you need it. But push that button and it starts closing almost immediately and gives you a few beeps to let you know, hey, you might want to get out of the way. Before we get in this one, I did want to show you the key. It is Buick's more affordable key, not what we see on their top Enclave, but it has all the necessary functions. You can see unlock, hatch release, lock button is your Buick logo. You even get remote start across all trim levels, panic button, and you can deploy a physical key if you need to from the back there, but you don't need to keep the key out of your pocket. I do like how slim it is, how well it slides into my pocket, but it is a proximity key. And then we get GM's proximity access here. So you have that button to lock and unlock the vehicle. We only have that on the front two doors. We do not have that on all four doors, but when you do open it, you can see we get a nice up-level interior over, again, the Chevy Trax that this shares a platform with. So I will go ahead and show you. We've got all of our window controls right here, but something you will not find on the Trax, like I said, at the back of the vehicle, this has an adjustable height rear hatch, power rear hatch on this, so you can adjust it to varying different degrees, and there is your power open button right there in the center. We do get some unique textures and materials here, but mostly GM hard plastics all around on the doors. We do get a little storage down low, a little storage right there. We do get a power adjustable seat here with two-way lumbar. These are also leather seats. Leather is not something you can get on the Chevy Trax. You get the Evotex is what they call it. We even get Avenir here in the headrest. We get some contrasting stitching. This is the ebony black interior here with these accent stitching, which I think works very nice. Closing the door, you can see we do have dual screens up in front of us, though this isn't the big curved, fanciful freeform display that we see in their biggest Enclave. It does mimic that a little bit with the edges, but we'll go ahead, put our foot on the brake and push the engine start button right here. You can see 8-inch here, 11-inch screen here. So we get decent screen real estate, but again, it's not what we have in the Enclave. That big freeform display with multiple different areas on it. This is just meant to invoke that. I will note from living with this for a week, it is very vertical, and that does eliminate most of the glare on it, but it is a little jarring when you first get in it. I mean, it is vertical. Here in the Driver Information Center, it's very simplistic, but it gives you all the pertinent information. I will note it is very easy to clutter up this relatively uncluttered screen with this screen over here. We'll go ahead and hit our trip computer, trip information, show and cluster, and now you can see, yes, it's just a little more cluttered with your trip information there. You can also remove that from the cluster. You can go over here and go to your fuel economy screen, show that in the cluster as well, so you get a better idea of just how well you're doing in a drive. But yeah, definitely able to clutter the cluster a little bit further with the additional options in your auxiliary screen over here. We don't have a lot of buttons and controls, but Buick does lean into wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, really stepping up the premium feel in here by allowing you modern connectivity. I currently have my phone disconnected from this, but we will show you that later when we are filming on the GoPros. Over here, we still get physical controls for our lights, our brightness control for our screens, and down here, not a whole lot of additional controls. Coming to the steering wheel, you can see we get all of our driver assistance. This does have adaptive cruise control. We have a heated steering wheel. And then we've got controls for various different functions here. We do have volume up and down here, track forward and back over here. No head-up display, but we do get this forward collision warning light that illuminates if you get too close, because this does have the following distance indicator on it. That goes with the adaptive cruise control. Coming back over here, we do have a volume knob, single volume knob, power knob here. But as you can see, not a lot of stuff to dive through here in the screen. Interesting that traction control gets its own button, but you can see here we do have auxiliary gauges. We have driven this just over 50 miles. We are averaging a very good 23 mpg, though you can see this vehicle has averaged a best of 40 mpg over certain conditions. That was not us, but that is quite impressive right there. And then you can see that is your home screen. Coming down here, we have air vents. They do a good job of keeping the cabin cool, but you can see we only have a single zone climate, no dual zone climate in here. Though I will say the cabin is compact enough that it isn't too much of an issue here in this one. You can hit this button and get your climate controls displayed on the screen, but physical redundant controls down here. We do have 3-stage heated outboard front seats, but no ventilation. So just something to make note of. Again, just like on the doors, we get some textured material here that is just a little more upscale than injection molded plastic. Moving down, we do have a lot of gloss black in this one. You saw it right here. We already have some fingerprints in this area, and we have it down here. We do have that 6-speed automatic transmission controlled by a manual gear selector, mechanical gear selector here, that when you put it in reverse, you can see we do have a very clear HD backup camera, no 360 cameras on this one. Down a little bit lower, you can see we have a USB-A, USB-C, and a cigarette lighter style power outlet right here, right above a Qi wireless charger that has done an okay job of charging my iPhone 16 Pro Max. I just don't like how it's in the center of this section, how they didn't offset it. I do like how in other GM models they have like a vertical slot. The Cadillac Escalade before its 2025 refresh was one of the best for that. 2 cup holders, no rubber grippers here, electronic parking brake, a little bit of storage here with a rubber mat, so you're not going to get a lot of rubbing noises there. And then we have a very tall, very narrow center console here. It has been very interesting just how tall this is. It takes a little getting used to, but it's not intrusive. But yeah, we get faux leather up here, faux stitching. We get hard plastics down here, and we do get a damped but not felt-lined glove box up front. Looking up above us, we do not have a sunroof in this model, but you can get a standard size sunroof. No panoramic glass roof here. In this one, you can see all of our OnStar buttons right here. No rear view camera mirror or anything to speak of here in this one. And then coming to me, I've got plenty of headroom up front here. But let's check out the back seat, because Buick General Motors has done a lot for the backseat passengers in this one when it comes to overall space. As we come up to the back door, I will note the sloping roofline does not really start tapering until it gets behind the back doors. We'll talk about that more when we get inside and are talking headroom. You can see the doors here do get a downstep in materials from what we see up front. No aluminum accents, a lot of hard GM plastics all the way around, but we do get these Evotex textured armrests like we saw up front. We also do get a little bit of storage down below. Speaking of seats, you can see we get 3 across back here. We still get the ebony with the accent stitching. These are 60-40 split folding rear seats. Unfortunately, the 40% is on the wrong side. We typically like it where Tucker's car seat is, because now that whole 60% is locked in place with Tucker's car seat, so we can only extend our cargo area by this 40%. Small complaints, I know. These headrests also do fold out of the way if you need them out of your way for rear visibility. Again, no rear view camera on this. But what I really want to talk about back here is rear seat space. This is me sitting behind myself at 5'10". I am very impressed with just how much space Buick was able to give to interior occupants, especially back here in the back. We get some storage options like map pockets on the backs of both front seats. We get storage here, though it's hard plastic, so if you put anything hard in here, it will rattle around. We do get some USB-A and USB-C power back here as well. And as I mentioned, this is a front-wheel drive only platform, so no need for a transmission tunnel. We get a completely flat EV-like floor back here in the back seat, so lots of space. You can get 3 across, though it is a little on the narrow side. I don't know that I would want 3 adults back here, but 3 kids, 3 teenagers should ride no problem, and this center passenger won't have to worry about foot space. Speaking of center passengers, if you don't have one, we do have a fold down center armrest with 2 cup holders that do have rubber grippers. So this one ups the 2 cup holders for the front seats. No center headrest, but we do have a seat mounted seat belt back here. And then coming to me, I talked about the headroom. So the sloping roofline really starts tapering off back behind where my head is right now. We don't have a reclining seat, but I have a nice recline to my seat. This is a very comfortable back seat. I've got no complaints back here, but let's hop behind the wheel and see how this thing drives. Now that we are in the vehicle, I can show you, yes, CarPlay. There it is, and works as expected, as advertised. Decent sized screen. It's probably where you're gonna leave it most of the time because, well, the home screen is nothing too special. So, CarPlay, it has it. Another thing I want to do is say a special thank you to RaceBox, our 0 to 60 timer sponsor here on the channel. They did supply us with this GPS timer. You can get one for yourself, save 15% in the process while helping our channel out by using the discount code and promo down in the description below. But as we get in this one, I do want to say first and foremost, this is not a luxury vehicle for people typically buying premium luxury brands. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, even newcomers like Genesis. Stepping into this is a big change. It is more for people who have been buying Nissan Sentras, Chevy Trax, entry-level vehicles from the mainstream market. This is a step up from that, though not a very huge one, but it does give you a lot of the features many buyers are currently looking for. We do have a leather-wrapped padded steering wheel, though it's a little on the thin side. Not the best, but still better than, yes, the Chevy Trax that this shares a platform with, or a Nissan Sentra. It's, you know, a step up. Not a huge one, but a step up nonetheless. Given that we are sponsored by RaceBox to 0 to 60 test our vehicles, we're going to see what this 1.2 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder can do. I'm not expecting a whole lot. We are going to brake target here. We don't have any sport drive modes or anything like that. So I'm standing on the brake with my left foot, standing on the accelerator with my right foot, and drop the brake. Got a little bit of wheel slippage from those Continental ProContact tires, but we are off 30 miles per hour in 3 seconds, 3.19, 9.49 seconds, 0 to 60. So it's not quick. It's not quick by any means. It is one of the slowest vehicles we've tested here on the channel, but we recently tested the Acura ADX A-Spec, a brand with a history of quality and reliability and upscale luxury, with a price tag quite a bit higher than this one. In fact, this vehicle tops out at less than the Acura ADX even starts. So yes, similar 0 to 60 performance in a vehicle in the same class, but smaller and more expensive, though yes, different build quality and build choices on the inside. However, you're not buying this to drag race it. That's not why you buy a Chevy Trax. That's not why you buy a Buick anything. It's to drag race it. That's just not who Buick is here in the 2025 time frame. Maybe back in the 60s with Skylark and all that, but not today. Getting this out on the open road, living with this as we have over the past week, it is a completely fine vehicle. And that is not to be a knock. It is doing everything that we ask of it, though not super quickly in the process, but it is doing everything we ask of it and doing it rather well without much intrusion or offense given to anyone on the inside. We have a McPherson Strut front suspension, but a Watts compound link rear suspension. So again, this is not for somebody who is used to a completely adaptive suspension in a top tier luxury brand. It's for somebody who is stepping up from a mainstream brand, and this is their first luxury vehicle. And at $30,000, it is a very easy jump. Again, the Chevy Trax that shares a platform with this tops out just over 27. This one tops out just over 30. So $3,000 gets you leather seats, a power rear hatch, some things that some folks are unwilling to waver on or overlook when shopping for their vehicle. As we get this out on this curvy, highly textured East Texas back road around the lake here, we are getting some road noise. I mentioned when we were back in the cargo area showing you around the spare tire, no sound deadening around the spare tire. That keeps the weight down of the vehicle, helps with fuel economy. As I showed you, this exact vehicle has gotten over 40 mpg over a 50-mile stretch. So this is a very efficient vehicle and one that doesn't break the bank on price. And that's because General Motors Buick has done a lot of smart choosing on where to spend their money. No sound deadening back there, but we've got some nice tires on this. Those Continental ProContact tires are doing a fair job of helping us pilot around corners here. I did get a little wheel spin under hard acceleration, but instantaneously corrected for that. And yes, we are getting some road noise on this highly textured pavement. I would say that is less to do with the tires and more to do with the lack of overall sound deadening in this vehicle. Now, you did see we just went over one of the worst bumps that we traverse on this driving stretch at any sort of speed. And yes, we did get a little bounciness to our step. Again, we do not have any fancy adjustable suspension in this. It is simply a McPherson Strut and Watts compound link rear suspension back there in the back that does a fair job in normal day-to-day life. It's not overly offensive. That is the thing I'm going to keep coming back to over and over on this vehicle. Nothing is overly offensive. It just does its job very well without breaking the bank. This serves its purpose very well. Not being overly offensive, doing its job without breaking the bank, and giving you some luxurious comforts in the process. Automatic climate control, heated leather seats up front, heated steering wheel. Then we have all the driver assistance and ADAS stuff. We do have adaptive cruise control in this, which is a very welcome sight at a $30,000 price point. We have lane keep assist in this. So if for whatever reason you start drifting a little bit, yes, this will help keep you in the lanes. Though if you leave your hands off the steering wheel, not recommended, it will kind of ping pong you back and forth. It is not a lane centering system. It is a lane keeping system. And then, yes, this being an affordable vehicle built in Korea and imported here to America, we do have a few rattles in here that are to be expected in an affordable General Motors vehicle. Not a deal breaker by any means, but definitely something worth a test drive in your local area where you would drive your Buick Envista if you are looking to buy one for you, your family. And again, that could just be this particular model. Press vehicles are driven a little bit harder than your typical crossover in this class is driven. just because we as reviewers want to test it out to its fullest potential in all scenarios. Yes, twisting down these back roads back here, we are getting a little bit of body roll, but again, nothing overly offensive. It's just doing its job as expected. And that's all you can really ask of an entry-level luxury branded vehicle, just to be a nice experience without beating you to death in the process, and giving you some of the modern amenities that most drivers expect nowadays. Now that we are getting to the end of the twisty bit of our review, I do want to do a couple more 0 to 60 runs, but how we would normally do it. So just moving from the brake to the accelerator, not brake torquing it, not doing anything like that. I don't expect any wheel spin on this run, simply because I don't think the overall power numbers are there, but we'll see exactly what we'll get. So come to a complete stop here, firm on the brake, and then we're just going to move to the accelerator. Ready, set, go. Lot of lag for the vehicle to figure out exactly what we wanted to do. So that I don't know this GPS based 0 to 60 is really going to tell us an accurate projection, but 10.14 seconds from when it sensed forward momentum. So that does make this the slowest vehicle I have tested here with our RaceBox timer, though that was going uphill slightly. Let's try it one more time in the opposite direction, going downhill slightly, and see if that improves it over the 10.14 any better. Ready, set, go. There is a deer in the road ahead of us, but I think it's got plenty of time to move out of the way before we get there. Yep, there it goes. There it goes. Now we are clear. 10.21. So it actually got worse going in the other direction. Again, you are not buying this for its straight line acceleration speed. You're buying this because it is a fairly well optioned luxury crossover from Buick that does not break the bank. If you want to know more what this is like for our family, you are going to want to hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified when our family review drops, where, yes, we put in Tucker's child safety seat. He is riding back there behind us, and Holly is behind the wheel giving you her thoughts and impressions on this Buick Envista. Little spoiler warning, I don't know what she's said or thinks about it as of yet, but I do know what she thinks about the Chevy Trax on which this is based. I do think this improves on several of her critiques, but we will have to see exactly what she thinks in our family review. You can also find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com, where you will find links to everything that we do, including our award-winning podcast. But as for me, in a $30,000 loaded Buick Envista Avenir, until next time, gearheads, bye.